Monday night, it's RaceSpotTV. We are back with another season here of Monday Night Skippys, and we're better to start off round one than with a bang. It's Lime Rock Park, it's Rachel Whiteford, it's Liz Brostrom, and Hugo Louise behind the cameras for you tonight. Welcome back here, and we are up for a absolute smasher tonight, Linus. I think it's the best word.
I think we are, and coming from the last season, starting the new one straight away at a track like Lime Rock Park. It's short, it's tight, and it's like 45-50 cars. It's gonna be pretty interesting to watch.
Certainly is, and we're looking at our timings coming in the last few moments here of qualifying, and it's pretty tight. We look at our 1 second bracket as always, at 57.3. Time's a little slower at the moment than it happened in the past, of course. 58.3. Well, that takes us all the way down to 35th place. That is our 1 second bracket. This is how close this field is, Linus, and you know what that means. A lot of people racing together.
It is definitely, and it is a pretty short track though, so 1 second is the lap times are actually under a minute, so 1 second is quite much though still. But I do expect to see some spreading out, and if you go off here, there is absolutely no way to get back quickly onto the track because it's just grass straight away, and when you're getting the grass you'll just keep going straight. So one mistake here, especially early on in the race, that can cost you 20-30 positions. So Fahim Antonides and Simon Edwards and Bill Fraser, definitely, if they want to be in the hunt for the championship throughout this season, are going to have to keep all four wheels on track all race long, because one mistake and you are done.
Certainly is, and it's going to be a great race tonight, as it always is. And well, for him starting out strong, qualifying on pole at the moment. Kane Halliburton back, Edwards in third place, in a moment in Hughes, and Fraser back in fifth place. So Bill, who secured that championship last season, now going to be having to fight to defend that one, this time by for season 1 of 2019, which of course starts basically 2 weeks before the new year. So we have majority of the season in 2019, therefore it's season 1, because starting the season in January 1st doesn't make sense apparently. Regardless, we'll come on with the race, and of course Lime Rock Park is kind of an inverted oval, Linus. It's mostly right hand corners, and there's only 7 corners here, which makes it a really simple track, but theory and practice are very different things.
Well, yeah, it should be a simple track, but it's definitely not. You gotta hit your marks in every corner, and when you think you've made a corner, it tightens up and you can very easily go wide, and especially coming towards the end of the lap over that little crest. I don't think it's such a problem in these cars, but in faster cars, if the rear gets a little bit too light, you can spin out very easily. So you gotta be on top of your game all race long, especially in a big field like this.
Absolutely right, and it's a big field indeed. Tonight we have 51 drivers scheduled to take this flag, and that is our qualifying to the grid. Coming on the pole today is Fahim Antonides with Kane Halliburton in second place, Simon Edwards in third, and of course it is going to be Clay Hughes fourth place, Bill Fraser in fifth, Alan Percy in sixth place with Ben Daniels, Matt Cox, James McRitchie and Darrell Taylor. Anthony Catt, S.J. Dunning in 12th, Daniel Cook, Clark Williams back in 14th place, Ewan Patterson in 15th, Kieran O'Flynn, Adrian Hendy, Daniel Tufts, Jack Hobbs and Paul Ridley in 20th. Rest of those positions on your screen as we get ready for the race tonight. Of course, the usual last minute, what fuel am I using comments in the in-race chat there, Linus? Might be a bit late if you're asking it now.
Yeah. People having the fuel figured out this late can cause issues, so you might as well just take a little bit more than usual just to be safe. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference, but these cars don't use much fuel for these short races. It's 25 laps, so it's going to be 22-23 minutes, so it's going to be a pretty short one here tonight.
Exactly, well, it's that whole difference between 2.7 litres and 3.1. 2.7 is not quite enough.
Gallons, though.
Gallons, not litres. That would be a bit weird, but it's definitely 3.1 for this number of laps. But we're going to be ready in just a moment's time now to start this thing off, just under 20 seconds before we get that light, and we're going to get looking forward to seeing this one. Of course, you want to take part? Be part of the UK&I club and sign up. It's that simple. We have got one of our old favourites in the chat, George Lee Wright, of course. Tip of the hat to him, and hopefully tighten my safety helmet for that one, because George managed to hit everything, including the pace car in this series. Green flag flies, and we're away for lap 1 of season 1, 2019, here at Lime Rock Park. And everyone slides into line like a Jamaican bobsled team. Although a big move
Really?
on the inside there for Bill Fraser as he tried to find an opportunity. Didn't come just at this point in time. As he's coming around the corner now, turn 2 and into 3 now. The switch back here, the first and only left-hander you get to this entire field. As everyone cycles through now, we've got 51 cars coming through the grid, although we have got some contact towards the rear. A few cars pushing each other on and off the track as everyone tries to make it through this one without any major issues. Big bottle up down around 40th place, but the leaders up at the front, flying through turn 5, up over the crest into
we have a bit of a crash just below the hill, trying to figure out who that is involving. I believe Charles Kilman is in, and he's still crashing actually.
He certainly is.
See if we can get a view on that.
Lap 1 completed for your leaders, and well, the order hasn't really changed at the moment. It's Fahim Antonides with Halliburton, Edwards, Hughes and Fraser still that top 5, but we've got Alan Piercy coming in from behind, an old name returning to the series there. Everyone holding their positioning. Bill Fraser trying to get past Hughes, but can't find an opportunity, Linus.
No, he can't. There's no way for him to get past the moment. Here we see a replay of the crash of one car going wide in the grass, coming across, and there's about 3, 4, 5 cars involved, one flipping over the fence, and you can see they're all just piling in up until late. And Christopher Kelsey, one of the drivers involved in that as well, as we go back towards the front of the field.
We certainly do. In the front of the field, it's a breakaway for 3 cars. Antonides, Halliburton and Edwards getting a good runaway there, doing what they need to do. I think we had open qualifying tonight. In fact, if I look at qualifying, no, it's only 3 laps, so I'm kind of uncertain as to why drivers have been shuffled around quite so much. A couple of guys taking breaks from this event, and one of those being Buster Thurston, who does not appear to be in tonight's field, if I'm not missing that correctly. But at the front, that breakaway is still being successful. And I think the real success here of Fraser-liness revolves around him getting past Hughes, because he does seem to be trying to find an angle, but he can't get it. Will this lap traffic that they're coming up to now, yes, lap 3, and we're dealing with lap traffic. Do you think this could be his key to get past?
Well, if the lap traffic slightly gets in the way of the leaders, he could catch up to all of them, but if they can just play it right, he will probably get past Hughes up into 4th place. But he has been quick the last couple of seasons, Hughes, so we can't count him out. He might still want to win this race as well, so he's not going to make it easy for Fraser, that's for sure.
One on car I'm keeping my eye on here, of course, is Halliburton, who's hounding back of Antonides there for first. We'll go on board here with Halliburton across the line, up alongside Fahim there up the inside, has the racing line. Will cross at the line just behind him by millimeters. Edwards going with him there into turn 1, and Halliburton has the line. He will wash out a little bit, but holds it straight. Antonides will lose that spot for the first time this race here on lap number 4. Before they get to the lap traffic, but they'll be on the top of those cars absolutely imminently, as they're right there, just less than a corner ahead now. Fraser and the cars behind catching up.
Oh, and one of the cars is going off. One of the lap cars went off right in front of him, but it didn't hit the wall, so that could have been an ugly moment for him, but fortunately he got out of the way.
Certainly is, and this track is an absolute death blender, and I'm surprised they're keeping themselves alive at this point in time. Darrell Taylor 11th place, he's doing pretty well so far. He's dropped 1 spot, but he's up very high compared to where he has been, as this is just a phenomenal amount of cars for a tiny little racetrack here, giving things a whole different angle. But I'm really kind of impressed by Hughes in the moment, who's really managed to push himself forwards here, forming a bit more of a gap than Antonides did, but right behind that lap car now. This will be the tricky point. Can he get past him, or will he get boxed in and Fahim use that car as a pick? Lap car pulls out the way at the last possible second. That was really kind of late to be leaving it behind when you've not got anybody you're racing with, but the whole field will stream through there, making that lap down car feel very small indeed.
He certainly does, and he's still getting out of the way here. People just going past him left, right and centre, and at the front now Lee Hughes has actually pulled away from Fraser and caught up to the front 3 because of the battles that they had and getting stuck behind the lap car, but still Halliburton at the front, and Fraser is now under attack from Ben Daniels, so he's going to have to watch out. He might actually fall out of the top 5 here if he's not careful.
Yeah, certainly does, and that's something I can focus on there. Daniels right behind him, looking like he might actually be able to take the pain to this one, as a bit of a exchange there with Antonides, and Halliburton on the outside goes for him. Can he go for a big wide entry, cut around the outside and hold that outside line? Very hard to do here in 1 and 2 because of the big long radius double right-hander. Edwards still looking very interested there. Oh, Edwards made a mistake, got a bit of curb, and Hughes, I should say, gets up behind him. And nearly had an opportunity for pass there, did not quite make it. Well, that's shuffling things up a bit as they come now down No Name Straight, and that's actually what it's called, No Name Straight. Even though it's not a straight, but we're not going to get into that. Halliburton still leads now from Antonides Salinas. Back in the pack, we've got some big action here around the 13th, 14th place.
You certainly do, and that's involving Clark Williams and SJ Dunning, who's now coming up the inside as they come over the crest. They're side by side coming down the hill again, and Ewan Patterson is coming into this as well, trying to make it 3 wide, but there's definitely no room. And now Hendy's getting involved as well. There's going to be 2 by 2 coming down the front straight away here to the finish line, and look out behind him because Patrick Fairbanks wants to get involved as well. So this could very well be 3 wide coming into turn 1, but it is still no. Clark Williams is going to lose the spot. Cook takes the inside, and here comes Patterson as well. So that's going to be 2 positions lost for Clark Williams, who we're used to seeing up at the front, unless he can keep it up the inside here in the left-hander.
Yeah, absolutely. Not really the opportunity there. Clark Williams, though, did get that inside line and managed to hold that spot back again. But it's getting very frantic all over the field at the moment. We've got little packs of cars everywhere, and oh, nearly problems back here, though. We have got contact back in the 28th place. It's going to be 792 of Bird, who had contact there with the 44. I think it was Forrest he had a bit of an issue with there. 27 will come past now. It's Barry West. Managed to keep his race fairly clean. West qualified in 42nd. He's up to 32nd already. He'd already going past there. Impressive position makeups for him. Back towards the leaders, though. This is where things are going to be focused with the championship, of course. Already such an important factor. Even just route 1. Look at the huge net of cars there for the lead. And I believe he has. Yeah. Fraser's gotten past, of course, Claire Hughes there, who had a bit of a mistake. And now we've got Antonides and Edwards side by side. They're battling, and that just brings Bill Fraser into this battle. Fahim wants to get this season off to a good start, Linus. He wants a win early on, or at least a good score, to tell Bill that this is his turn for a championship, and he's not going to let the Scotsman take it again. But look at this, Piercy through.
He gets through. Antonides almost lost it coming up the hill, and wow. Piercy making up 2 positions there within a few corners, but here comes Fraser moving back up into 4th, 2nd, 3rd. Even he's going to try and get 2nd from Piercy now, as Kane Halliburton is just driving away. Edwards is actually in 2nd, so this is a battle for 3rd that we're looking at back here. And it is going to be Alan Piercy moving up into 3rd position. See what he can do with that as Antonides moves to the inside again of Fraser. Gets a little bit wide, and there's going to be a little bit of contact as well.
Getting very bolshy this early in the season. The 2 championship hopefuls there. It's going to be Antonides and Fraser battling there. Wheel-to-wheel contact already again. A 2nd time as round goes. Fraser hits Fahim. No. Off he goes. Oh my God. It's going to be early woes for Bill Fraser down lap number 9. And we'll take this back to kind of turn 2 exit, turn 3 here, Linus, and watch that incident happen again. You saw them come together. Bill tried to cut off Fahim, which kicks him out sideways. He goes back in, spears into Fahim, but Fahim's car, like his hopes maybe this season, rock solid, didn't even move.
No, it didn't, but it does look like he's got slight damage because he was sliding up the hill once again. You didn't see that on camera as we're watching the replay once again here. But Fahim does look like he had some damage. He's losing a lot of speed down the straightaway again. And yeah, Fraser just pierced straight into the side of him, and his car doesn't move at all, but that suspension has got to be damaged from that. As he's got Matt Cox now putting him under pressure, and he is dropping back quickly here. Cox and Daniels right on his tail, and Alan Pierce is just driving away from him in 3rd place.
Well, he's got clean air now, which is a big advantage for him at a track like this, but can he catch Edwards and Halliburton up front? Right now, Halliburton is leading the way and has been for the last few laps, and Simon Edwards looking strong in 2nd, but hasn't quite had the same power to get up there and catch him. We're going to have 36 cars still on the lead lap. Dane Bard just up ahead of these guys in the lead now. It'll be that last car on the lead lap with him ahead of him, I should say, Carl Henley and Charles Kellyman. Then Peter Barnell also up there. Jack Hobbs had a bad race. He's dropped all the way back from 19th to 32nd. Right now he's coming through turn 2. As the leaders will come across the start-finish line, so they're not too far behind. But that gap now is going to be 2.3 seconds to Alan Piercy. He's brought it down a little bit, but is it going to be enough, Linus?
I don't know, depends if these guys up front start battling. It's definitely not going to be enough of a gap for them, but if they keep running like this, it might just be enough. We will see. There's still 15 laps to go, so anything can happen, and right behind these guys, Antonidis is actually managing to hold off Cox, even though he is slightly dropping back from Piercy. So maybe he's managing to work around the damage now that he's actually managed to figure out what it is. So being the experienced driver that Fahim is, if it's not a lot of damage, he could probably work around it and maybe stay in the top 5 at least.
Certainly could be, and that would be an interesting one to see if he can manage to pull that one through, but it's already looking sad for Bill Fraser, who's right back in the pack now and going to be in very difficult circumstances to get himself anything out of this race. But big move now by Cox as he moves up alongside Antonides there on the run to turn 1, with Daniels behind him there. Goes to the outside and 1. Hangs it strong, but just loses ground because it's off camber there for turn 1, Linus. So of course the inside line will be strongest by quite a margin there, as he struggles now to keep off Ben Daniels behind him. Claire Hughes and McRitchie I should say, and Cat just behind that group, along with Darrell Taylor pushing forwards. Taylor back where he qualified at P10. So our biggest climber in the top 10 right now will probably be Alan Piercy, up 3 spots, as nobody else has really quite gained as much. For him, dropped back 4. Well, that's not a metric we're counting at this point in time. We have got some bigger climbers in the field so far. 33rd to 19th, Robert Plumley. He's up quite a few positions there. We've also got Matthew Forrest, 35th to 23rd. And on top of that, 42nd to 26th, Barry West. All right, go Barry. One of the bananas isn't slipping on his peel right now. He's getting a great number of spots gained.
He is. There's been quite a few incidents though, but he's done a good race so far, and it looks like his car is fairly clean, though he is half a minute behind, so he might have been involved in something and been in the pits to fix that. I'm not really sure about that one, but he's gained quite a few spots, so that's a good one for him. If he can keep gaining at that same rate, he'll be at the front in no time, which I don't think will happen, but anyway.
We'll have to find out, of course, as the race continues onwards. It looks like Edwards is getting closer to Halliburton as every lap goes by. Maybe some of this lap traffic eventually will pose a threat that he can utilize to his benefit, but the race behind them is the one we're looking at, led by Matt Cox. There is a 6-car train just building up in the mirrors there of Matt Cox. Antonides, Daniels, Hughes, Cat, McRitchie and Taylor right in the background there. 7 cars overall. But who's going to pass who? It looks like Antonides now has an opportunity, gets the draft here on Cox. Can he bring himself up to 4th place?
He is going to try and get it back. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to try and cut in front of him. No, just barely not enough. And now he's going to be on the outside. That might actually cost him a position instead, but Daniels is going to stay behind. So for him, obviously having some sort of issue with that car, not as fast as he likes, but he is keeping up with these guys and giving it all he can to try and get to the front of it again.
Certainly is. He overcooked that one a little bit there, of course. He just went a little too hard into the outside line, and it carried good initial speed, but it really bombed in the middle, as nearly lost the spot there to Ben Daniels from behind, as himself and Clay is looking like they want an opportunity to pass the title hopeful there. Antonides not got a chance to do that yet. Halliburton at the front, he is still leading the way now, barely ahead of Edwards, but those guys have now got a 2.9 second gap. Piercy not gaining on your leaders, the lap traffic yet to help him catch up to those cars, but this is our real battle here, as there's a big knot of those cars coming back into turn 1 again, Linus, and Antonides trying.
He's trying everything he can, and I'd not be surprised if he manages to keep it up in the top 5, and there's now 7 cars in this pack, as we have had another car catch up to him, and they're just all over the place, going side by side down the straightaway and trying to make positions, but it's not quite changing around as much as I expected it to. Cox is just holding the inside line, and as long as he can have a slight overlap of Fahim going into turn 1, he's going to keep that lead position. So Fahim somehow needs to nail the exit onto the straightaway and clear Cox on the braking zone in order to get back to the front of this. Otherwise Ben Daniels could be right there and pass him at any point if he can just get a better run.
So he has only had a handful of retirements this time as well. Chris Warner, Gregory Leader, Jason Walmsley, Anthony Jones, Michael Taylor, Chris Roberts, Christopher Kelsey, Massimo Berta, of course, Wade Thomas, Bill Fraser still there on pit road. He's parked that car for today. And now we have Dave Dowson as well onto pit road, who's just retired this second ago. So out of 53 drivers, we've still got 42. So we've only lost 10 at Lime Rock Park, which is honestly fantastic. for this track. It is normally brutal to the race cars, and you end up losing quite a lot of them there, as Piercy just dropping back again, 3.3 seconds back now as the pack behind them there. Separating out a little bit here as Cox getting a bit of a draft from the car in front. It helps him pull away there from Antonides. You got to wonder, has Fahim there got some real damage on that car as he slides there exiting turn 5 from that contact earlier on with Bill Fraser, Linus?
He's not got any visual damage from what I can see, so it's probably just slight suspension damage, which isn't giving him the downforce that he likes. He's actually got a little bit on his wing actually, but it's not slowing him down on the straight. It's mainly probably in the corners as he's getting the draft now off the lapped car instead of Cox in front of him. And here comes Daniels to the inside, and they're going to be 3 wide with the lap car going into the braking zone, but the lap car is getting well out of the way. So Daniels up the inside here, if he can hold it, he might be able to get position, but he gets on the grass, gets slightly loose, and Fahim can just pull around and stay in 5th place and catch up to Cox again in front of him. So this pack is still going to be unchanged, but they use Ritchie and Anthony Catt towards the rear of it.
Absolutely, and this is the real exciting pack we're seeing here, back there from 4th place through to 9th. These guys are just bringing a fight at the moment, but no real opportunities to get past anybody. It's really struggling to find an opportunity with the draft. The only real opportunity they have, and I keep saying opportunity, I realise that every opportunity I get to say opportunity. I'm going to shut up now and stop saying I'm going to stop saying it. Regardless, it seems as though the draft is the only real chance to make a pass here, and other than that front stretch, Linus, there's no ability to do so.
Well, if you're going to pass the rest of the track, it has to be from a mistake. We see Antonides going around the outside of Cox again, and Cox is holding the inside. Fahim can hold a little bit of an overlap. He might have the inside for the next corner though, and he won't. Well, like you said, going into turn 1 is the only braking point really. Otherwise, it's got to be a mistake from a different driver that gets you up into the lead. So as long as you're mistake free, you're not going to get past. Unless Fahim here, he moves to the inside, coming back down the no-name straight. Going to try and be inside of Cox coming up the hill, and he's actually going to clear him before the exit. And here comes Daniel as well. This could be a couple of positions for Cox, and you can see Antonides is struggling up that hill, getting loose every single time. Here's Daniel, he clears him, and Leo Hughes is getting involved as well, and almost 3 wide coming back down the hill. That's 3 positions lost for Cox in 3 corners. Ooh, that was close. Anthony Catt trying to make up positions as well.
Clearing the lead of that second grouping right now as Catt goes up the middle there, shot out of a cannon. Not quite going to clear him though in 1 and 2. Wow, that is getting very, very, very spicy. It's 2x2 through 1 and 2 here. Contact there with Clear Hughes on the outside as everybody shuffles in single file.
Tend to do that coming through this bit, and well, that let the front 2 cars actually pull away. So Fahim and Daniels off in 4th and 5th. Now the battle is for 6th in this group instead, and Catt trying the same thing on Cox as Fahim did last time by. Sorry, that's Ritchie actually trying that, but he's not able to do it. So Cox is going to stay in 6th position for now. McRitchie in 7th, Leo Hughes in 8th, and Anthony Catt in 9th, with Darrell Taylor being on the back of the field. And Clark Williams is caught up as well now. There's more people getting involved behind them, as this is slowing them down quite a lot. But further up the field, though, one thing I have noticed with Simon Edwards going down the front straightaway, every single
Oh, he's off! Sorry, Linus, Ben Daniels runs off the track there, and you see exactly the terrible penalty imposed as you go through 1 and 2 there and hit the little bit of dirt on the outside. It just sucks you off the track there and into the grass you go. Nothing you can do to stop the track just removing you from the surface, but wow, that was close.
It really was, and that dropped him 8 positions, and he was off the track for what, 5 seconds. You just can't get back on it, and well, that's really going to hurt this race. But if we go now, they're coming onto the front straightaway. If we go and look at Simon Edwards, you will see he's moving out of the draft. Actually, this lap he's not doing it because I'm saying it. Before he's been moving out of the draft, not trying to catch Halliburton, but this time he's actually going to move up the outside, try and get that lead away from him. Halliburton, though, on the inside is going to be able to clear him, so now he's actually trying to make a charge for the lead with 5 laps to go. But before he's just been moving out, trying to just sit back there and wait, so don't know why that is, but he's been taking it very easy. Now he's on the charge though for the win, so this is going to heat up for the last 5 laps, and Piercy behind him is now 4.2 seconds back, and he has got a 4-second gap back to Antonides, so Piercy is pretty much secured in 3rd here.
I think he is. The time gap he has is just too big there as Antonides tries to pull away, and he is doing so, but 4 seconds is nothing you can make up in 4 laps here as we're on lap 21 now of 25. Leaders coming through the final corner now to start lap 22. And what a race it's been. It's been very bold, and it's signaling a new start to the season with potential candidates from Edwards and Halliburton to actually bring this thing to a new champion, possibly, rather than a fight-off between Antonides and Cox.
Got a bit loose there.
A little bit, but he managed to secure it back. Could we see a new champion Linus this time around?
Possibly. So we got 3 wide into turn 1 for P numbers 6, 7, whatever it is. Cat is in the middle, and they're going to actually single file out again, as usual for this corner. But yeah, we could very well see a new champion if Kane Halliburton can show this speed all season long, and Alan Pierce is well doing pretty well in 3rd place. This could be a 5-6 car race for the championship rather than the 2 or 3 that we normally see. So it could be a very, very interesting season if they can hold that speed all year long.
Certainly is, and that's going to be something exciting to follow. If we've got new competitor to Piercy returning as well, if this is a full season for him, he could be a major competitor to Antonides and of course Fraser who's out of this first round, as I think there could be issues there for Antonides. He had a big sparks there coming off the ball strips in the downward line. Halliburton though side by side here with Edwards pushing the outside and tried to hang on as he gets his nose into the gearbox there of Halliburton. And now we've got a real attack mounted from Simon Edwards. Is he going to steal this one in the dying moments of the race from the leader, Halliburton, who's led most of this event? Lap traffic has not been a factor all race long. It's barely been a speed bump for these guys, as we're going to have a 4.3 second gap between 1st and 2nd and 3rd, and another 4 back to 4th place on a track with 7 corners in a sub 1 minute lap. That is huge, George. Linus, I mean.
It is really, and these guys, they're really giving it all now. Edwards, he's trying every single lap now going into turn 1, but Halliburton is doing really well holding the inside. You can see he moves to the inside as early as he can, forcing Edwards to the outside, and he's going as close as he can, trying to get side draft as well. Then he moves away so Halliburton won't get to draft back, and he's going to be on the outside again. He's going to try the undercut actually, but Halliburton, as long as he stays to that inside, he's going to keep the lead, and it's now only 2 laps to go for Edwards. He's going to try and get the run again, coming down there, knowing him straight away, trying to set it up in the left-hander. He can't really do it, so it's Halliburton still in the lead with 1.5 laps to go.
Certainly is there, as Halliburton doing everything he can now to keep Edwards behind him here, as Piercy is still not going to be a factor in this thing, but Edwards needs a great run out of turn 7 to really set this one up.
He does. Here he comes though, and Halliburton on the outside. He's going to have the bigger run again and going to clear him, so still no chance. Now he's going to have to set him up in the last corner, coming to 1 lap to go, and he's going to go really, really wide. Halliburton quickly going to the inside. Edwards right up to, oh, they almost touched there as well, but he's moving it as late as he can, moving away from him, no side draft. He's on the outside going into the corner. He's going to brake slightly later. He's going to get halfway in front of him, but that's definitely not enough. He's going to not try the undercut. Halliburton bouncing the curb, but he's going to stay ahead again, and I think that is almost game over for Edwards, unless he can get a huge run onto the straightaway here.
This is his last opportunity, and we'll see if he can pull something special off with this one, as it looks like it's going to be a clean shot for 3rd, Piercy. For him in 4th, with Cox still leading that train in 5th. He might be the one that might lose an opportunity here, but we're looking at Halliburton and Edwards, as Edwards right on the rear gearbox there of Halliburton up to the inside for turn 6. A chance here as he gets a little sideways, loses momentum. This could cost him, Linus. Down the hill now to turn number 7, and this is their final run through the lap. And the gap is too big. It's going to be Kane Halliburton who will come across the line in just a second's time as he weaves it to celebrate. I don't know what he's doing there, but oh, that was actually closer than he would have wanted, I think, at the end there. But Kane Halliburton with the win. Simon Edwards in 2nd place. Piercy comes home with 3rd. I've got to say, though, whilst we're still waiting for the rest of the field to come home here, and
oh, we had a 3 wide for P10 there actually as well.
Oh my gosh,
wow.
I just saw it the last second. I thought Halliburton was going to spin that thing out before the line, did you?
It almost looks like it, but he knew what he was doing. Apparently he managed to hold on to it. Wow, trying to look further down the field, and there's no real battle still going on the track. There is 2 cars being close to each other, and that's for 40th and 41st. They're actually 1 lap down, both of them. So they're coming to finish lap 24. That's Peter Cowan and Tim Adcock racing for position, and that's going to be Cowan getting P number 40. So still battles going on all the way down the field, but that battle for the lead, that was epic the last 5 laps. But you have pretty much one opportunity around this track, and if the first driver covers the inside, there's nothing you can do. He did everything he could there. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Edwards, and Kane Halliburton setting the pace for this season. That could be a very interesting battle.
It certainly is, and after what was basically the player-unknown battlegrounds of iRacing Monday Night Skippys at Lime Rock Park, we have your final finishing order. Ken Halliburton comes in with the win, Simon Edwards in 2nd place with Piercy in 3rd and Anthony Diaz 4th, Cox 5th, McRitchie in 6th place, Claire Hughes in 7th place with Williams, Taylor, Cook in 10th. Behind them is Ben Daniels, Ewan Patterson, Anthony Catt, SJ Dunning, Adrian Hendy, Tom Barry, Patrick Fairbanks, Robert Plumley, 33rd to 18th, Nick Sigley, and in 20th, Dave Kirkman. Rest of those positions on your screen. We're hopefully going to have a chat to some of these guys, and we'll find out if there was actually damage on Fahim's car there. But Linus, that was a great start to the season.
It definitely was, and if they can keep going on like this, it's gonna be an amazing season, and few more contenders here coming up to battle for the championship, especially Kane Halliburton. I hope he sticks around for the entire season, because that could definitely be a fight worth watching.
It certainly could be, and that was absolutely phenomenal. We are going to go to a short little commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the post-race show here on RaceSpotTV. Join us in just a moment's time. Welcome back to the post-race show here on RaceSpotTV, and it's time to continue the fun, whether it be in the YouTube chat or here in the studio. And first off, we have got a chance to talk to Fahim Martinez here. 4th place today for him after a great qualifying. You finished in what was a pretty tumultuous race, and am I right in thinking you had a little damage to nurse at the end?
Yeah, I had a bit of damage. Steering wasn't entirely straight, and then I had a crushed front left wing, and that didn't do my top speed on the straights any good. But I have to say, you know, this is the kind of track where if you do a slight mistake, especially when there are 50 cars on track, everyone's so bunched up. I think the top 35 were covered by 1 second. So it's the kind of track where if you make a slight mistake, you get quickly swamped and shuffled down the within a lap. You could be, you know, you could lose 4 or 5 spots. And that's exactly what happened. I did a slight mistake coming off the last bend onto the straight, and that gave Kane a good run on me. I could have aggressively swung to the right to cover my inside, but I thought that if I did it, he was so close that if I did that, I would probably, hit his front and we would both go spinning. So I thought I'm just going to have to grit it and let him go down my inside and see if we can both, if I could hang around the outside going into T1. But it's very difficult to do that. Yeah, a lot of people have tried, and out of every 10 goes, one might happen. Then after that, like I said, got swamped, and Simon got past me, Alan got past me, and into the S's, Bill and I had a coming together, and I looked at the replay several times from different angles, and I could see that I was on his alongside him going on into the right-hander, and I had the inside line, and he gave me room. I tried to keep as tight a line as possible, and we made a little bit of contact, but I could see from the several angles that the bit that actually kicked his rear end out was netcode contact. I don't think it was either of us not giving each other enough room. It's unfortunate, but that's how it happened. I think it was netcode. So I'm sorry that it ended that way for him, but hopefully he'll make up for it next race.
Certainly will, hopefully, and there's a good 11 rounds still ahead of us, so you've got plenty of time to do just that. Thanks for joining us, Fahim.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye. And next up, we've got Lena standing by here with Simon Edwards, who came home today in second place.
Simon, that was quite an interesting battle. I saw you taking it easy there for the first half, or well, up until the last few laps, actually, just waiting, and then making a charge at Kane Halliburton, but just couldn't quite get it. How close were you from your point of view, to getting that win, and what were you planning on doing if you can make it in turn one?
Yeah, sorry about the boring middle bit. It was exciting at the beginning. I couldn't really challenge Kane and Fahim while they were battling, really, but I just waited for that opportunity where I could box Fahim in. Got round Fahim, and like you say, I had a boring middle bit, just trying to get enough of a gap back to, I think it was Alan, so that we could have a battle at the end. And then just tried the last 5 laps T1, and then tried after the top of the hill. I just couldn't quite get him. Couldn't quite get there.
So are you worried this is going to be another competitor for the championship this season, or was it a one-off? What do you think?
Kane's fast normally in when he decides to run the skip for a season, so I think Kane could be a potential winner of the championship. I'm just trying to keep myself up there as well. It's a pity Bill got kicked out here, so that we haven't all got a nice starting point on points. But I'll take anything. I've been out on the first round before.
Well, he'll probably find a way to catch that back up pretty quickly. But anyway, congratulations on your second place, and Rachel, back to you.
Indeed, and we've got now the guy who came from 42nd to 25th, Barry West, with a phenomenal race today.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. Yeah, it's a different type of racing that back there. I just had to slow down so many times to avoid people and take to the grass, and and it was quite enjoyable. And a bit later on, some back markers were slowing us up a bit, and then we decided to race a bit. But it was good fun. Good fun. I'm glad got points anyway. Seeing Paul and Gary aren't around, so good race.
Certainly was, and this track is a bit of a mess at the best of times. How was it starting back there in the pack?
Well, it was. I think it was 42nd, wasn't it? And it was, it was a long way back. And I could see the incidents in front. And by the time I was just dreading somebody going in the back of me. Unfortunately, they didn't. I survived. But just before the uphill, there was a bit of chaos, and I managed to take to the ground. I think I brought the car home with no damage on it, which is something here, I suppose. But yeah, it's just a funny track, isn't it? I mean, if you're with another car, you can get this draft on the straight and get decent lap times. I think my best lap time was a very low 58. I couldn't get into 57s even, but qualifying was poor. I only did 2 or 3 laps because I forgot, and then the 48.2 I should have done, which would have put me back 30th, I suppose, and then I might have had a bit of a chance of in the teens. But yeah, it's a tricky track, especially with that many cars on. But good start to the season.
Absolutely, and wow, what a fantastic race we had today. Thanks for joining us, Barry, and hopefully we'll see you and the rest of the Bananas back on action next week. In fact, not tomorrow, next week.
Sorry, just want to shout out to teammate Darryl. He did really well.
He absolutely did, yeah. Darryl finished up in, let me have a look. He got 9th place. So Darryl Taylor, teammate there, one of the Bananas, got 9th from 10th on the grid. So fantastic for the 220.
Nice one.
Well, thanks to everybody for joining us. Linus Brostrom, of course, in the booth with myself, Rich Whiteford, and Hugo Louise on the cameras. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you same time next week. Bye.